Hi there, in this video I want to speak about the property price register. So if you log on to auctioneer.ie and click on property price register, you'll find it here. A few quick but important points to make about the property price register. So it's published by the PSRA, the Property Services Regulatory Authority, and the source of the data is from the conveyancing solicitor on the purchaser's side when they provide that data, the sales price data, to revenue as part of the stamp duty process. And a key point to make there is that the data then is manually input into the. I make that point is that in theory there can be different interpretations on spelling of particular addresses, so I'm going to show that with an actual example. So for example, if I search for Jacob's Island without an apostrophe, click search, you'll see that I get, scroll down here, 68 results, Jacob's Island without an apostrophe, and you'll see that 149 Jacob's Island, 118 Jacob's Island, no apostrophe. But because the data is input manually, some people do use an apostrophe. So if I put in the apostrophe, this time I get 10 results. So it's just worth being aware that there is potential when any data is manually input into a system that there can be different interpretations on spelling and potentially errors. You'll also see that some people input the word road and they spell that R-O-A-D, but then some users of the system input R-D, and it's just important to be aware of that when you are using the register, because it can lead to different results depending on what you search for. The next thing to point out is that there is no data before the 1st of January 2010. And there can be a lag, or there is a lag in terms of the register getting updated. It isn't updated in real time. If a property transacts today, it can be a number of weeks or even longer before it appears in the register. And again, that's dependent on when the conveyancing solicitor provides the data to revenue, and that varies. So there is no set period that you can say that 2 weeks or 3 weeks after a property transacting it will appear in the register. But to give some indication here, I'm recording this video. So I'm recording this video on the 2nd of May, and you'll see there's data as recent as the 20th of April, which is less than 2 weeks. It can be as quick as that, it can take longer, but it's just worth pointing out that it is not updated in real time. There is a lag. The other point to make is that the register contains only residential transactions, and in the event that there is, for example, a residential element to a building above a commercial premises, this is a residential property price register, so it will only contain the residential part of the transaction. There is no commercial data in the register. Another point to make is that some listings, very few, but some listings you will see will be marked with this double asterisk. So I've put in an example here of 126 Bandon Road. So you'll see if I search for 126 Bandon Road, you'll see that there's this double asterisk. Now what that means is that this price does not constitute the entirety of the price for 126 Bandon Road, and there are a number of potential reasons why that might be the case. So for example, the vendor is retaining an interest in the property would be one example, but our general view, or our advice to you, is that when you are using the register, if you see this double asterisk, don't use that data when coming up with your asking price, because this is not a true reflection as to what the entire property is worth or transacted for. It is just a percentage of that. So because you don't know what percentage, you don't know the full picture, so we would say to discount it from your research when you're establishing an asking price if you see this double asterisk appended to the price. Very rare that you see it, doesn't come up that often, but just to point it out. Another point to make is that new properties on the register are uploaded to the core register excluding VAT at 13.5%. For your convenience, all of the properties that we upload, or when we copy the data across to our website here, we add 13.5% VAT to new properties so that you don't need to do that. It's more convenient for you. So every property amount that you see on our website does include VAT, does include 13.5%. So that's more convenient for you. It's just to point that out. All of our prices do include VAT, namely the price that the purchaser paid to the vendor, the price that you are interested in. Very final point is sometimes a number of properties will be sold together as part of one transaction. So a number of apartments might be bought together, and different solicitors will record that differently. So as per the PSRA, they'll say that some will list just one apartment. So if you buy apartments 1 to 5, they'll put down number 1 and the full price. Some will divide the total price paid between each individual 5 apartments and then list each individual 5 apartments individually. As I've said here, divide the total price and then list them, or list all the 5 apartments. So what I mean by that is they'll put down 1 to 5 Orchard Fields or whatever it is. I'll show you an example of that now. So here's an example: apartments 1 to 80, Dundrum View, Dundrum, Dublin 14, and 28 million for those apartments. So what they've not done here is taken 28 million divided by the 80 apartments and listed each individual apartment. They've bundled them all together and listed them like this because it was part of one transaction. Another variation on that is 75 apartments, doesn't list the numbers, just 75 apartments at Lansdowne Gate. One final example, in this particular instance they've listed block F, K and L Central Park. So there isn't uniformity in how transactions that involve a number of units are recorded. It's just to be aware of that. So once you are aware of those few pieces of information, come in and use the register. Very helpful tool. So it's pretty self-explanatory after that. You select the parameters that you want to search by. So you could, for example, search in, scroll down, let's pick somewhere at random, let's say Donegal. You can put in a specific address if you wish. You can filter by prices, max price, up as far as a certain max price. You can select the year that you're interested in, and then you could select a period. You could say from January to February in 2017 in Donegal, for example. But let's just take all properties in Donegal that are on the register. Click search, and then you can, by default, we've sorted them by the most recent transactions first, which generally will be the ones that are of most interest to you. But you can sort by the oldest first by clicking on the date of the sale. You can click on the highest, you can click by amount, so the highest amount, the lowest amount. See some of these asterisks here, so tend not to factor them into your reasoning for the reasons outlined earlier. So click on the amount again. So the most expensive property on the register in Donegal is 1.6 million, 0.627 million. It's this particular address. So pretty self-explanatory, and obviously a very useful tool to anybody when establishing a realistic asking price for their property. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you found the video useful and hope to see you soon on auctioneera.ie.